Okay, now we'll talk about the next question. I will write here also NCERT exercise. Okay. Now we'll talk about the question number 2, children. Why is water essential for life? Okay. Why is water essential for life? Even this question is done earlier, children, and this NCERT solution only. So no need to discuss. Now, okay, this is done before. Now question number 3. How are living organisms dependent on the soil? Okay, how are living organisms dependent upon the soil? The second part is also there. How are organisms that live in water totally independent of soil as a resource? First of all, write the question. How are living organisms? How are living organisms dependent on the soil, and are organisms and water organisms will come here, are water organisms totally independent of soil as a resource. Okay. So the here question says that why is soil important? This is the first part of the question, and second part they are saying that the aquatic animals, yeah, the aquatic animals, that means the animals which live in the water. So the animals which live in the water, do they really need soil, or is soil important for them also? So now we'll talk about the answer, children. Talking about the first part of the question, that how organisms, like what is the importance of soil? To be very straight, we have to mention the importance of soil over here. So why soil is important? Soil is important because the plants, okay, the plants get the nutrients from the soil, and directly and indirectly all living organism, they depend upon the plants. If plant won't get their nutrients, the plant will not able to survive, and if plant will not able to survive, then there will be no organism left on the surface of the earth. Okay. So we'll write this, that plants get their nutrients from the soil directly or indirectly. All the organisms depends upon the plants, and if plants won't be able to survive, no, in absence of plants, no living organism can survive the earth's surface. Right? Now, the second importance, even soil is a house for many organisms, isn't it? Soil, like if we talk about the microorganism, definitely microorganisms live there, but the earthworm, the termites, the ants, okay, there are very small organisms which live, microorganisms lives, and even the organisms like the snake, the rabbit, the rat, the mouse, all these organisms also make their, they live in the soil, yeah, and the crop production is done on the soil itself. So again these are also the importance. Microorganism, earthworms, termites, and even snake, rat lives in the soil. So this is the importance of the soil for the organism which live on the land. Now we will talk about the organism which live in the water. Now children, please keep one thing in mind, whether you talk about the food chain of the land, the forest, the desert, the or you talk about the marine food chain, okay, the fresh water or the marine, whatever, wherever we talk about the food chain, it has to start with the plants. The plants are always at the base in a pyramid. In the food pyramid, the plants are always at the base. That means, see, what does the fish eat? Aquatic, as well as soon as we say aquatic, then the fishes comes in a mind. What does the big fish will consume? Definitely the smaller one. What does the smaller fish will eat? The smaller fish will eat insects. And what does this insects will eat? Insects will definitely eat the aquatic plants. Okay. Now insects can also eat these small microorganisms, the zooplanktons. But then what zooplanktons will feed on? Zooplanktons will definitely feed on the dead, the big animals and all this thing. But there are certain, the zooplanktons who will also feed on the phytoplanktons. So the zooplanktons are what they require, the phytoplanktons. Now what is phytoplankton and zooplankton, children? See, the microorganisms, the phytoplanktons are those very small plants which comes under the category of the plants, and zooplanktons are those very small microorganisms which comes under the category of the animal kingdom. Okay. So whenever we talk about the food chain always starts from the plants itself. So even for the aquatic animals, organism, the soil is very, very important, because now when we talk about the phytoplanktons, the very small plants, now where they get, from where they will get nutrients? They will get nutrients from the soil itself, yeah, right. So the second part of the answer, all the food chains like whether land or aquatic starts from producers, and producers are what? The plants. So the food chain always starts from the plants, and plants get their nutrients, and plants, please, I am not writing in the complete sentence, plant gets their nutrients from where? From the soil. And from where the soil will get nutrient? Due to the decomposition of the aquatic animals and aquatic plants. And who will do this decomposition? Definitely the microorganism. But after decomposition, all this will become the part of the soil and will again help to give the nutrients to the plants, the aquatic plants, right. Now we will move to the next question, children. Now question number 4. Okay. So, fourth is you have weather reports on televisions and in newspaper. How do you think we are able to predict the weather? So, I will just write the question first. Weather reports are predicted. Okay. So, how weather reports are predicted, children? So, I have little bit changed the question, like how you think and this and that. So, coming back to the point now, how weather reports are predicted, children? See, every big city has meteorological stations. Now, these stations, you know, they are responsible for giving such kinds of reports. Now, they in this laboratory, meteorological laboratories, they have got different kind of instruments, and with the help of these different instruments, the different measurements are taken, and which is being given to the television stations, and then from there the report is being telecasted. So, what is being done at the meteorological laboratories? Laboratories with the use of, with the help of various instruments, measurements are taken, and the reports are, they have asked about the newspaper. Yeah, so given to the newspaper. Okay, now which kind of measurements have been done? Maybe the minimum temperature, children. Yeah, maybe maximum temperature of the day and night. Like what was the, what is today's minimum temperature? What is today's maximum temperature? Yeah, what is the minimum temperature of the night? What is the maximum temperature of the night, and overall of the day, and minimum rainfall, or the total rainfall, I should say. And minimum and maximum rainfall, like mean expectations of the rainfall. So, minimum and maximum expected rainfall, expected minimum and maximum rainfall. Yeah, along with this, the formation of the clouds, all this, along with this, the wind, like the wind speed, and the amount of humidity in the air. So, all this is measured by the certain different kinds of instruments, and we know, like see the wind pressure, the wind speed, and we know certain instruments like wind vane and barometer and all this which are being used to measure all such kind of weather phenomenon. So, meteorological stations, meteorological laboratories are situated in almost all big cities, and there with the help of different instruments these kind of readings are done, and this report has to be given to the newspaper, and in this way the newspaper get the news and they print it. Okay. So, now we will move to the next question, children, and please note this point so that we can talk about the next question. Now, this is question number 5, children, and this is very big question. We know that many human activities lead to increasing levels of pollution of air, water bodies and soil. Do you think that isolating these activities to specific and limited areas would help in reducing pollution? Only this is a question which is very big. So, I'll have to write the question first of all. We know that many human activities lead to increasing levels of pollution of air, water bodies and soil. Do you think that isolating, okay, what the question is, children, that we know that various kinds of pollutions are there, air pollution, soil pollution, water pollution. So, if we isolate, if we reduce one thing, so is it going to affect the other pollutions? So, this is exactly the question is, and I'll just write the question. Lead to increasing levels of pollution of air, water and soil. On isolating activities to specific area would help in reducing pollution. Okay, so what the question is, now see, different kinds of pollution is there. If we reduce the activities which leads to air pollution, which leads to water pollution, which leads to soil pollution, so will it going to affect, like if we restrict the activity for one thing, one kind of pollution, so is it going to affect the other pollution? Say this can be done only in the case, this will be right only in the case of soil pollution. Like see, suppose a piece of land is there, on that land if again say for example crop is being cultivated, again crop is being cultivated, so that means if same kind of crop, if one kind of crop is only cultivated at one farm, so the land will become deprived of only certain kinds of nutrients which wheat require. So that particular land will get will have very less nitrogen, it will be left with very less nitrogen, right? Okay, why? Because wheat is taking nitrogen again. Now what will happen if the farmers are not cultivating pulses which can increase the amount of nitrogen in the soil? Okay, so what will happen? Just I have given the example, but if one kind of crop is only cultivated on one farm, then what will happen? The particular land will get deprived of that particular nutrient. Okay, now so it can be in this kind of activities only soil pollution will be there, or the fertility, the loss of the fertility will be there in one farm. Suppose one farmer is there and he is using lot of pesticides and fertilizers, and these all what he is using chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides. Now, so what will happen? His field will not give good crop because the acidity has, the soil has become more acidic, the fertility has reduced now, but it won't affect the all farmers crops, all farmers fields, all farmers soil, fertility of the field, definitely. But when we talk about the global warming, this is a very small activity, example of very small activity which I have given, but when we talk about the global warming which is caused due to the air pollution. So even you do not think so that if one activity is done in the neighboring country, this is not going to affect our country. Definitely it is going to affect our country also. So air pollution and water pollution. Water also, see, when water get polluted, see, many countries are there who share one river, isn't it? So, and definitely the sea, we have number of, we know how many oceans are there, right? So, directly, indirectly the water is getting mixed up anyhow. So, when we talk about the pollution of very small level, then yeah, it can affect, it can restrict, can be restricted. Like one activity can restrict, can reduce the other pollutions also. But when we talk about globally, so one country, the countries are sharing river. So if one country, when the river is shared, okay, so one country which is responsible or which is creating or dumping lots of radioactive material in the river, or dumping lot of or lots of industrial waste is being released, the sewage water is released in the water. So water, when it is coming from one country to another country, so definitely that pollution is reaching to the another country also, right? One country is using one kind of when the pollution is there, air pollution is there in one country, definitely air doesn't know the boundaries. Air is going to move from one country to another country also, right? So definitely the wind is going to bring all that polluted air also. Definitely this can be true when the activities are, when we are talking about the activities of very small level, just burning of one one bag of garbage at one place. So this is a very small activity which is not going to affect the all the countries or the world globally. But when we talk about the bigger activities, when we talk about the dumping of the waste, when we talk about the lot of vehicles, all this is being used, because globally the temperature of earth is increasing. It is not like that the temperature of only India is increasing or the temperature of only one or the two countries are increasing. Globally the temperature is increasing. So from this it is very, very sure that activity which is conducted at one place or the pollution which is created at one place is going to definitely affect the other places also, and is going to affect the it cannot be restricted to one definite country. So in soil pollution, it can be restricted but for air pollution, air and water pollution, restriction will not help, right? As for example, the temperature or the global warming is caused due to total environmental conditions. Caused by all the countries of the world. One river is shared by many countries. I am not writing in an elaborative way, and even the question is asking like if many human activities lead to increasing levels of pollution of air, water and soil, or isolating activities to specific areas would help in reducing pollution. Now they are also asking that if we reduce one kind of pollution, is it going to affect the other kind of pollution? Okay. So again in this case also only we can talk about that the same thing will be there, children, because one thing is related to the another thing. If the soil is getting polluted, that means if lot of fertilizers and all these acids are used, definitely it is going to give acid rain. If acid rain, fertilizers and all these things are used, and along with that when lot of air pollution is there, try to understand, children. A farmer is, when with the farmers, all the farmers are using lots of fertilizers, okay, chemical fertilizers. Now all this water is going in the rivers. Now when when this one, okay, so and when the countries are using vehicles, when the countries are using lots of vehicles, all the countries, so what is happening? Fossil fuels are being used. When lots of fossil fuels are being used, then what is happening? NO2, SO2, all these gases are going up. It is coming down in the form of the rain. So again soil is again getting polluted. Yes. So one pollution is definitely affecting the other one. If air pollution is more, definitely it is going to pollute water bodies also, that means it is going to give water pollution also and soil pollution also. So these all are very, very connected, children. Are you getting it? Like if lot of air pollution is there, lot of fossil fuels are being used, so lot of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide is there in the nature. Now all this will get dissolved in water and will come down in the form of the rain and will come and will become the part of water bodies. So definitely they are polluting water, so water pollution is there, and when such kind of water falls on the surface of the earth, so definitely soil pollution is there. So even if you are restricting one activity, in certain cases this can be this is acceptable. Like if air pollution is totally getting reduced, then definitely it is going to affect the water pollution also and soil pollution also. But then this has to be done on the major aspect, major level. If small things won't be making so much of effort. Okay, now we will move to the next and the last question, children. And the last question is, write a note on how forests influence the quality of our air and soil and water resources. Okay, so short note on forest influence the quality of air and water resources. Air, water and soil resources. Okay. This question is also very interesting, children, and in the previous question also you can increase this, you can write it to you can increase it, you can write it to a great extent also, like you can write it to a great extent in the sense you can include many points in this, right? Okay, now similarly in this question also, children, like what they are asking, like how forest is responsible or how forests are useful for us, how does it affects the air, how does it affects the water, and how does it affects the soil. So first of all, when we talk about the soil, children, so we all know the forests are very important for the soil, for it prevents soil erosion. So I'll keep on writing also, it prevents soil erosion. Now, when the soil erosion will be prevented, definitely the fertility will increase, right? So it will give rise to increased fertility. Fertility will increase. Now when fertility will increase, definitely the crop production will increase. Now, when the crop production will increase, the use of the crop production will increase, that so farmers are going to definitely use lesser amount of fertilizers, and so soil pollution will also, this all are tricky things, children. You have to use your brain and you can write one answer. These two are application based answer, so you can write these two answers in very different way. Okay, so now here what is coming to my mind, that when crop production will increase, so less fertilizers will be used. And so less soil pollution will be there. Okay, so how forest is helping so much for the soil. Okay, now in the same way, if we talk about the air pollution, children, so air pollution, what will happen in air pollution or air, in case of air, definitely the forests are going to absorb carbon dioxide. Yes, forest will absorb carbon dioxide. So what will happen, children? Less pollution. And it will also decrease acid rain. Again it got connected over there, so the fertility of soil will also increase. Yes, so I can write over here, reduce acid rain. So reduce acid rain, that means what? The soil fertility will increase. So soil pollution will also decrease, right? See, one thing is related to so many things. Okay, now when this lot many forests are there, so definitely carbon dioxide is reduced, so global warming will be reduced. Global warming will be reduced. Okay, when carbon dioxide will be reduced, greenhouse will be reduced. Will be less. So it is affecting in such a in so many different areas. Okay, now if we talk about the water, silting of water will be reduced, isn't it? Silting. And will reduce water pollution also, children. Okay, now how? So what's the meaning of silting, children? First of all, when lot of clay, mud and all these particles get deposited in the lower layer of the water bodies. Now this silting chokes the flow of the water, and to remove this desilting of the reservoirs or desilting of the lakes is also done. Like take the example of the many lakes which are there in the Kashmir. Desilting is done, again desilting is done. That means all with the help of the big cranes and all, because if desilting is not silting is there, lot amount of clay and all will keep on depositing over there. So that lake, the depth of that lake will get decreased, isn't it? And the water reserve, the reservoirs, these water bodies will get choked. So it's very essential to desilt the water bodies again. Okay, coming back to the point. So when the soil erosion is not there, isn't it? Soil erosion is not there. See how it is connected to the water bodies also. Forests are there, soil erosion is prevented. And when soil, the upper layer of the soil is not moving away, and if it is not flowing along with the water, so it, like when the water will flow, when it will rain, water will flow and it will come and it will become the part of the water bodies. So it will have very less amount of soil, and so silting will be reduced. When the silting will be reduced, automatically what will happen, the water pollution will also get reduced. So all these three things are highly connected. So if one one step is taken to improve one thing, definitely all the things can come into the line. And the major thing which can help, the gist of the lesson, whenever this is not the part of your lesson, but still, whenever we talk about the soil pollution, air pollution, water pollution, the best way to remove all the pollution is plantation. If you plant more trees, if the trees will be there, the carbon dioxide, the emission will be absorbed by them. And we have studied that how one thing is related to the other one. So when just by plantation, just by planting trees, just forestation can improve so many environment, like it can improve our environmental conditions to a greater extent. So let's do that, isn't it? So this was a question which says that if one thing is reduced, and one more major thing, that all this thing will reduce, and it is going to reduce the diseases, children. So it is going to reduce the diseases for us. Definitely this is not the part of the answer, but definitely when the air, water and soil pollution will be reduced, definitely the diseases will also reduce, isn't it? So this was what I was saying, that this is a question where they are asking that what will be the effect of forestation. Is it going to only, one very important thing, the carbon dioxide and oxygen balance will also be there. I will write here. So the carbon dioxide and oxygen will be in balance. Yes, so it won't increase, it will also be maintained. So how one activity, one good activity can affect all other harmful things, So this is just a right example for this. Okay. In this previous question also, children, you can talk about the global warming, you can talk about the greenhouse effect. So this is an application based question. It is a hot kind of a question where the answer has to be framed, can be framed in different ways. So I have written this kind of answer for this, and you can write some other answer. So these were all the questions which were taken from the NCERT. And that's all with the NCERT questions and the NCERT exercises. Definitely some extra questions will also be solved. So please note this. Thank you.